Yes, my friends, welcome back. In today's latest news, we discuss all the crazy exits happening at this football club. It's literally become a car boot sale right now, and in the space of no time, we have just upped our bank account just like that. I'm going to discuss the latest exit news around Havertz, Mason Mount, Mateo Kovacic, plus all the players set to exit us to embark on their Saudi adventure for next season as well too. So my friends, we actually got a ton of things to break down today. I hope you guys are glad to see me back. I'm slowly starting to add more degrees to like my posture right now, and listen, I'm feeling as good as I can be at this point in time. I'm not gonna get too gassed or overdo it. So if you guys are happy to see me, hit that like button, it means a lot. And before we get into anything, I have one special announcement to make first, yeah? My friends, today's video is brought to you by long-term friends of the channel in OneFootball. And you guys know what I'm about to say right now, right? Download OneFootball to stay up to date to all the crazy stories and transfer news happening with our football club and across Europe as well too. As you can see, get all the latest articles just like that. We say farewell to club legend N'Golo Kante. United have made an improved bid for Mason Mount. Mateo Kovacic is set to sign for Man City, and I'll be discussing all these stories in today's video. But if you guys want more, you can stay up to date to all the latest transfers happening across Europe. And OneFootball is the perfect football hub to have for you enthusiastic fans that want to get your information quickly and as soon as possible. So my friends, download OneFootball, help the channel out. You'll find a link below in the description and make your life even easier in the QR code above as well. You guys know what to do. And now getting back into the video. So right now, my friends, let's start with one of the breaking stories of this afternoon that follows many breaking stories this afternoon. And we have to talk Kai Havertz because now his move to Arsenal is imminent. I'm going to let you guys know this right now. I'm going to do a separate video discussing Havertz's time at this football club, plus this like frustration I'm feeling around his exit now to Arsenal, because I feel like I haven't seen the real Kai Havertz. I've seen glimpses, I've seen moments, and I do feel like there are contextual reasons as to why we never saw the real Kai Havertz that we all had hopes for once we signed him that 2020 window. So my friends, Havertz currently is set to be signing for Arsenal. An agreement has been made in principle. A fee has been agreed upon, and even though fees report that it's going to be around 65 million, it could be a lot closer actually to 67.5 million. But what makes things good is that there is a guaranteed set fee of £60 million plus 5 to, most realistically, 7.5 million in add-ons too. Now Havertz has already agreed personal terms. Now I've quoted these guys quite a few times in my recent vids, but Edu and Arteta, they can't be slept on. Like, they're starting to do like similar things that Petr Cech and Frank Lampard were doing for us a few seasons back. When they talk to players, they know how to talk to them. And most importantly, they know how to entice them. And that's the main reason why Havertz only wants to sign for Arsenal right now. Currently, we're just waiting now for Havertz to embark on his medical with Arsenal. That's going to get booked in later this week. And as we already know, he has agreed personal terms and he will earn around 225k per week. Now we know that Havertz didn't want to sign an extension with us at this football club, but from a pure business point of view, yeah, we'll earn close to around 80 million euros, and he has 2 years left on his deal. His market value has dropped compared to the time we signed him all those years back. And I have to say that this is pretty phenomenal business. Obviously, this kind of worries me at the same time because Arsenal, they haven't given up on this. They're not going to let any price difference valuations put them off from signing Havertz. Havertz is key to Arteta's plans, and I feel like that's something that we can't just easily dismiss, because my thing is, securing Champions League football now in this Premier League is going to be even harder. You're looking at United, you're looking at City, you're looking at Liverpool, who are coming back and revamping their midfield. Newcastle, if they sign big players this window, they're going to be a real force to reckon with. And obviously Arsenal aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So maybe is it actually beneficial in our favour now that we don't have any European football to distract ourselves with for next season, allowing Pochettino to have a week break every single game now to work on ideas, work on tactics and improve the team. I feel like that is the most needed thing right now, because I feel like clubs like your Cities, your Uniteds, Newcastles, Arsenals, they're like a year ahead now in their projects for most of these clubs, right? Now we wanted around £70 million, but I think 67.5 million is a more than generous fee It satisfies both parties. And the moment Havertz wasn't going to agree to signing an extension, he was out the door. But in my opinion, you guys don't quote me or hold me on this, but I just think to myself, if he had like 2 years left, did he necessarily have to agree to an extension right now, considering the circus that our club was last season? You'd imagine that most players kind of want to just gauge things first to see how things go. Because how many guys have been offered and promised these amazing projects, and then we're doing the complete opposite, right? In my opinion, I do kind of feel like Havertz could be a success with Arsenal. They have all the foundations and building blocks that really just complements his football. And I think with how fluid Arsenal play as a team, I think it's no surprise why Havertz was thinking, listen, let me get out of this football club, let me go across the road to Arsenal and let me sign for them, because I feel like maybe they're a bit more serious than we are right now. It hurts me to say that. Time's going to tell what happens once next season ends. But right now, we're set to earn a fortune from the sale of Kai Havertz. So my friends, share your thoughts and opinions. How do you feel about this? Are you happy with this? Do you feel Havertz was a complete flop? He never lived up to the goods? Or do you kind of feel that maybe there was more to come and we want the right club to really help him achieve his potential? So right now, my friends, let's discuss another breaking story. And this time, it does involve Mason Mount. Man United, they are adamant that they want Mount for their squad for next season, based on demands coming from Ten Hag, who wants him in his midfield, yeah? And today they have presented a second official bid for Mason Mount of around £50 million. And we have rejected that. Now what's interesting is that we were very adamant that we want 70 million, right, if Mount's gonna go. But it does seem like we could accept 60 million plus 5 million in add-ons. But at the same time, United, they want to bring that price down. And is 65 million, is that too much for Mason Mount? Now you already know that Mount has agreed personal terms with Man United, but that doesn't necessarily mean too much, because personal terms are the easiest things to agree upon when it comes to deals, right? Again, similar to Kai Havertz, the fact that Mount feels like he would leave his boyhood club speaks volumes about maybe how he's feeling behind the scenes of the football club. As we already know, the sporting directors really have ball control and say now when it comes to addressing concerns in the squad. It's going to be nice that Pochettino, like another football manager who's on the grounds, is going to be working alongside these guys, right, to also give his opinions. And we came very close to signing the guard safe for Pochettino. Obviously, I'm not happy with this news. I understand that everyone's not a fan of Mason Mount, but come on, you guys, I'm going to speak my truth. And you guys already know that Mason Mount is a player that I really adore, I really like. Been following this guy, I've seen him play live since he was like a youth, since he was 16 at Cobham. So, it was a really big thing for me as a fan to watch him progress into the first team and then watch all these guys lift the Champions League. The impression that I'm getting, and we now know that the co-sporting directors really have more control now when it comes to, rebalancing and building this new squad. I'm getting the vibe that maybe they don't see Mount as part of the plans and they'd rather rely upon their data analytic approach, sign these like top class potential young players for like a fraction of the wages that most of our players are currently on. That's the only personal impression I'm getting behind this news, because I still can't really understand why Mount would be leaving us. Still though, there's currently a massive valuation gap between Man United's offer and ours. They need to cough up another £15 million to secure him. It might not sound like a lot to us listening to this or watching this, but in reality, of course, that has to be accounted for in the books. And United are still hoping to address key concerns in the team, like a potential move for Harry Kane in this same window. So time is going to tell us to see what actually happens. But the reality is simply this: if United present an offer that satisfies us and hopefully matches the terms that we want, the Mason Mount will be signing for them. And similar to Kai Havertz, I'm going to feel a bit frustrated personally, because similar to Havertz, we haven't seen like the full potential Mason Mount. We've seen glimpses again. He hasn't had his best role in the 8 position. The fact that he could have that for next season under Pochettino and not be here, that hurts a little bit, I'm not going to lie. And I'm going to say this one more time, but even though Mount has a year left in his contract, I think it's quite interesting that we want the same fee that we've been demanding Arsenal for Kai Havertz. So my friends, how do you feel about this news? Share your opinions below. And right now, let's discuss more big stories involving exits of multiple players at our football club. And I want to start things off by saying this: the sales of Havertz and Kovacic alone will total close, very close to around £100 million. And once we get the money from the sales of Ziyech, Koulibaly, Edouard Mendy. That should bring in close to around 50 million. So already we've made around 150 million pounds. And on top of that, my friends, the most important thing is that wage bill is dramatically reduced right now, because that's nearly 1.5 million per week taken off that wage bill. And knowing the fact that we have no Champions League football, we're trying to get good sponsors. Of course, Stake is the backup we didn't really want, because our offer for Paramount Plus, of course, was rejected by the Premier League. We all knew that sales were key to helping us readdress and strengthen the squad. And I think so far the business that we've done to accumulate these types of fees is pretty good, considering that most of these guys are surplus to requirements or in high wages, or have like a year or two left in their existing deals. So it's kind of funny how the game works, right? Like last week, Bowley and Co were seen as jokers. They weren't serious. They don't know what they're doing. A week later, these guys are business geniuses, and it's just like, listen, never forget the power that these American capitalists have here. But regardless, let's discuss these exits in greater detail. And we focus first on Mateo Kovacic. Mateo Kovacic is set to sign for Man City. The final fee will be around 25 million plus 5 million add-ons. But for this 5 million add-on bonus here, that is fully dependent on whether Man City win another league title, which, let's be serious, they're probably going to win it again next season and win it 4 times in a row and make this league look even more stupider. I think for Kova personally, this is the move he's been waiting for like his whole life. Now, in my opinion, I felt he fell off incredibly last season. I felt he was on the decline in that sense. When you're not even seeing Kovacic carrying the ball, going on those surging driving runs, you know that something's not right with the player. But I'm not going to be cynical. I'm going to be open-minded. I can see it from another perspective too. A guy like Kova, who's been winning trophies his entire career, you came from Real Madrid. Like, it doesn't get better than that, right? He would have been frustrated by the circus show that was our season last season. And he probably thought to myself, listen, this club isn't serious with my demands at this point in time. And I actually think that in terms of the tactical profile, he's not a guy we need anymore. We're moving away now from playing like this slow possession, contain control type of game. And this move to Man City is a blessing in disguise for Kovacic, because under Pep Guardiola, playing a super brand of positional play football where balls kept on the ground like 90% of the time, playing alongside like-minded players that can understand your given goals, your little flicks, that type of technical football, I would not be surprised to watch this guy find new form for next season. And again, as I said, I wouldn't be surprised that a lot of his poor performances and his decline for us last season was based on the fact that we were a complete mess last season. And I feel like every player is going to be affected by that, right? So we're set to say goodbye to Kovacic as well. And my friends, let's now discuss some of the players now who are about to make their moves. Of course, say your goodbyes. Mateo Kovacic has some very special moments with us. I'll talk about him later on in the video too. But let's discuss the exits now of players who are set to be playing in the Saudi League for next season. And we start with King N'Golo Kante. Deal is done. Kante has left us, and it just kind of feels a bit surreal, to be fair with you. He's had 7 glorious years at this football club, but you guys can probably tell what I'm about to say. I'm always going to have this feeling that will never leave me, that we did not do enough to fully protect him. I understand the pressures managers feel in the game, right? But sometimes they can be just so myopic. They can be a bit selfish at times. And if they just cared for the guy a bit more, instead of rushing him back time and time again, taking advantage of this guy's, incredible endurance and stamina levels, I feel like Kante isn't picking up these concessions of injuries that have been affecting his past 2 seasons, and we still have a prime N'Golo Kante that's playing for us. So I feel like the club has to learn from that. I'd hate if we did anything stupid like this for guys like an Enzo or anyone else in the future. But there's also another side, and I also feel like big clubs like us, sometimes you have to understand when it's time, of course, to move on. And I do kind of feel like when options are available in the market now, like Moises Caicedo, probably the literal successor to N'Golo Kante, you can't afford to miss out on him, right? Like, you have to go for him. If that means that Kante has to go to make space for him, I understand that. And right now, with all the exits happening at this football club, we're entering a brand new era at this football club. It's a brand new squad, brand new individuals. I think that's going to come with some own issues, and I'll discuss them in a separate video too. But yeah, Kante, it's been a privilege to watch a guy like this, one of the great midfield players of his generation. The guy has completed Europe, and as I've said, I just love the fact that a guy that's so meek, that's so humble, that is so grounded, who has never let wealth really just, take control of him and affect his decisions. It's not affected his personality. I just love that he's the one that inherits all the wealth from the game. And yeah, I think it's fully deserved. It's probably like a parable and lesson for all of us that you can, of course, seek riches without having to lose yourself in the process, right? So, N'Golo Kante, it's been an honor watching you play for us. And let's discuss the other exits, because currently Ziyech now will be signing for Al Nassr. Koulibaly is set to sign for Al Hilal. And of course, Edouard Mendy is set to sign for Ahli. Signed with Hakim Ziyech. The final transfer fee we're about to receive for him is set to be around £8 million, which is, of course, not too much money. And like a season ago, we were commanding fees of around like 30-25 million. And we got offers between like 15 to 24 million pounds. So sometimes it's like, why not accept them? Because the value is only going to keep on going down and going down and going down. But Ziyech is another guy that I feel like we never saw the real Hakim at this football club. Like, I watched this guy do some beautiful things with Ajax for so long, yeah. And what really killed his career with us is he just picked up injuries at every single wrong time. Every single wrong time. And things got worse when Lampard, the guy that originally, sold the club to him, left. And Tuchel came in introducing a brand new way of playing, a new formation, thus creating no real position for Ziyech to play in. It's very easy to be frustrated at players like this, but you wouldn't sign Ziyech, right, and expect him to start doing Cristiano Ronaldo on the right-hand side. Like, he's not strong at all. So he's not going to hold the ball up, is he? Especially in the Premier League. And he doesn't have that pace or that explosiveness to get past two men just like that. Like, throughout his career, if you give this guy a fast fullback either side, this guy's an inverted winger, and the fact that we never let him demonstrate his passing capabilities, we didn't bring that fullback for him to take full advantage. Again, another guy that showed great glimpses, some great goals, some great moments, but there was never no place for him in the future. And it's a shame because I really felt like Ziyech would come here, really explodes, and we saw those glimpses, but sometimes the game can be incredibly cruel. So we say goodbye to Ziyech. And we also say goodbye to Koulibaly. Koulibaly has agreed a 3-year deal with Al Hilal. We're set to receive around 25 million euros, which is probably around like 20 million pounds. We're taking a loss, but I think it's a win in the long term because the guy's earning close to 300k. We don't need him no more. We have to get him off the wage book. But I don't think Koulibaly leaves here a flop. I feel like flops are for like very, very specific players who are really disastrous. Like, he started the season off okay, but then I think he needed more time to settle down in the country, get used to the Premier League, and that was going to naturally take some time. Now, I was very critical, and I'm not going to, mince my words with this, because I kind of felt like for your experience, you should be a lot better at dealing with the situation, right? Because you've played European football like for how many years? But in the end, as the season was coming to an end, he did show that promise and form again. And he did put in some good performances, especially when he played the back three setup and he played in the middle over Thiago Silva. So again, another victim of the squad right now. Our focus is on the next generation. And my God, is it a beautiful generation we have that could be the leading defenders in European football. So au revoir, Koulibaly. And of course, we say goodbye to Edouard Mendy, who is set to sign for Ahli on a 3-year deal. We don't know what the transfer fee is going to be, but I think we're set to receive a decent profit knowing the fact that he's earning pitiful wages at this football club. And we didn't cost too much money when we signed him, and his player cost has already come down quite a lot because we paid off most of it. So Mendy, I always feel like maybe since Lolachon left the football club, I felt like that's when his decline maybe started to kick in. And it's very important who a goalkeeper works with as their goalkeeping coach. Like when Kepa was working with Lolachon, I think there were some incompatibilities between their ideas and their methods, and that didn't necessarily translate well for Kepa. But since he moved on, we saw a Kepa where even though he has some of his flaws, he did improve last season, and we have to be honest. I think Mendy, of course, was the one to suffer for that. And I think probably mentally, knowing the fact that the club didn't really do too much to entice him to stay here, how's that going to give you confidence when you're playing as well too? He lost his place after he got injured. And yeah, he made some bad mistakes near the end. I don't think they come close to what Kepa was doing maybe a few seasons back, right? But in the end now, I guess it's time to move on. And we weren't going to give him the wages that he wants. And as we're seeing right now, it feels like we're getting rid of tons of high-earning players to to sign replacements that cost us a fraction of the fee, but also have the same potential and the same ability. So my friends, that is the end for today's crazy news story. Sales, sales, sales. Expect more sales to come very soon. Hudson-Odoi, Lukaku, Loftus-Cheek, Christian Pulisic. We have plenty more to go. And once that happens, we can finally start securing business and getting deals done. And it seems the main two ones currently, Nicholas Jackson, Moises Caicedo. And let's start the summer off right, yeah? So my friends, share your thoughts and opinions. I'm EFC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.